Welcome, everybody. Giving you about a 5-minute warning if you can start to find your seats. We'll get started in about 5 minutes. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2025 Service Academy Send-Off Program hosted by U.S. Senator John Cornyn. It is great to be here in San Antonio with so many incredible young people from all over the state of Texas, their families and friends, community leaders, distinguished guests, service members, and veterans. We are all sharing in this special celebration to recognize those Texans who have been selected to receive appointments to one of the United States Service Academies and will begin that journey later this summer. My name is Jeff Wooliford. It's my privilege to serve on Senator Cornyn's Service Academy Board and as your Master of Ceremonies today. I'm also a Lieutenant Colonel, still actively serving in the Marine Corps Reserve. The Senator started that. Providing our music is Fort Sam's Own, an ensemble from the 323rd Army Band stationed right here in San Antonio at Fort Sam Houston. Please give them a warm welcome. Presenting the colors today, we are fortunate to have the Honor Guard of the 502nd Air Base Wing from Joint Base San Antonio. Please give them a hand. I'd now like to introduce a couple of dignitaries. Also joining us today, we have Bexar County Commissioner Grant Moody. Commissioner Moody is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy and is a Lieutenant Colonel and F-18 pilot, still actively serving in the Marine Corps Reserve. He'll be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance today. Also joining us is Jim Perschbach, President and CEO of Port San Antonio. Mr. Perschbach is joined by their board secretary, Ellie Smith. Where is Ellie? The port is responsible for this beautiful facility that we get to use today. Thank you very much. Finally, I'd like to introduce Chaplain Chuck Wallace, serving with the Texas Military Department. Chaplain Wallace will provide today's invocation. Chaplain Wallace. So at this time, if Chaplain Wallace, Commissioner Moody, and Sergeant First Class Michael Jones will join me on the stage. Audience, please stand as I direct the color guard to present the colors and remain standing for a rendition of the national anthem by the 323rd Army Band and Sergeant First Class Michael Jones, the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Grant Moody, and the invocation delivered by Chaplain Wallace. Color guard, present the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. In the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, Satan does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please be seated. I'm Bexar County Commissioner Grant Moody, and it's an honor to be here with you all today. I just want to thank Senator Cornyn for putting on this amazing event on Memorial Day. It's an honor to be a part of it, and I just want to thank Senator Cornyn not only for the opportunity to be here, but for your decades of public service to our state and to our nation. Let's give him a round of applause. It's hard for me to believe that it's been 26 years since I sat out there where all of you are, and I began my journey at the United States Naval Academy. I hope that you all enjoy this time. I want to congratulate you. I hope your families, the immense pride that comes with the opportunity that's in front of you. I wish you the very best in all your future endeavors, and if I can ever be of service, please reach out. Now, if you'd all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Gracious God, we gather here today on Memorial Day, a day set apart to remember and honor the sacrifice of those who have given all for their country. Their sacrifice so that we may enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We're also humbled by this group who in this pursuit of happiness have heard and responded to continue the long tradition of selfless service to our nation through military service. We give thanks for those who take on the special calling to serve our military. We ask for your blessing and your favor to be upon each one of them as they start their journey on becoming leaders in our military. May you watch over and protect them as they live out their commitment to serve the United States of America. And we ask all these things in your holy and precious name. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. As I mentioned at the outset, I serve as a member of Senator Cornyn's Service Academy Board. As a board, we have the distinct honor of getting to know many of you in this room through the applications you submit to receive a nomination. We all come away from our review meeting with an immense sense of pride for you and the work you've put into getting to this point and for our country. At this time, I'd like to recognize a few of my fellow board members on Senator Cornyn's Service Academy Board who are joining us today. If you could stand as I call your name. Eric Brown from Austin. Glenn McTaggart from right here in San Antonio. John Hubert from South Texas, Riviera. Becky Klein from Austin. And Cynthia Leone from Mission. Thank you. The young men and women who volunteer to enlist in our armed forces deserve the very best leaders our nation can provide. Military leaders must possess the mental, physical, and moral skills necessary to think clearly and courageously in all conditions and circumstances. The young people we recognize today have been chosen for their potential to become the military leaders of tomorrow. For that, you have our congratulations, our deep appreciation, and our best wishes as you embark upon this calling. It is now my pleasure to introduce my former boss and our host, Senator John Cornyn. Senator Cornyn is currently serving his 4th term representing Texas in the U.S. Senate, where he serves on the Senate's Finance, Judiciary, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations committees. Prior to his election to the Senate, Senator Cornyn served in Texas as a Bexar County District Judge, a member of the Texas Supreme Court, and as Texas Attorney General. As the son of a World War II B-17 pilot who spent more than 30 years in the military, Senator Cornyn understands firsthand the importance of our all-volunteer military. He also knows the critical role military families play as they make their own sacrifices on the home front. The values he learned at a young age have helped guide his priorities in the U.S. Senate. Senator Cornyn has fought tirelessly to improve benefits and services for our military veterans and their families. He worked to expand the GI Bill so that education benefits are now transferable to spouses and children. He has also worked to ensure that all deployed service members have their votes counted, and he and his staff regularly help service members and veterans cut through bureaucratic red tape to receive the federal benefits they deserve. Senator, thank you for your commitment to the previous generations of our nation's heroes, the current generation, and those in front of us who are about to join its ranks. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Texas's senior Senator, John Cornyn.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I want to thank Jim Persbach, our host here at Boeing Center. This is a magnificent venue for this event, and we are grateful for the opportunity to be here and learn about the great things happening here at Port San Antonio. As many of you know, this is Sandy is my hometown. I went to Holmes High School here and Trinity University, St. Mary's Law School, met my wife on a blind date, got married, had kids right here in San Antonio. And it's, by the way, it's the only good blind date I ever had. But I want to particularly welcome all of the families who are here together with the young graduates who are going to our service academies. I know you've traveled from across the state to be here today, and you won't be disappointed. If you're like me, this will be one of your favorite events that you ever get a chance to attend. I want to particularly say thanks to Colonel Williford for his introduction and serving as our MC today. As he indicated, he worked for me for the better part of a decade and then followed the call to work for his beloved alma mater, Texas A&M. I hope Jeff doesn't mind me taking just a moment to brag on some of his most recent accomplishments. In addition to juggling a full-time job and a life with a wonderful wife and 2 active boys, he also serves as Lieutenant Colonel, as you heard, in the Marine Corps Reserve. And as you can imagine, I'm extremely proud of Jeff and all he's accomplished and all he continues to do for Texas A&M. So please join me in thanking our great MC, Colonel Jeff Williford. As he mentioned, he's a member of my Service Academy Board, and I want to thank other members of the board who are here today. John Hubert, Eric Brown, Glenn McTaggart, Cynthia Leon, Becky Klein, and of course, Jeff. These men and women and the others who serve on my Service Academy board do incredible work going through all of the various applications for these very precious and limited number of Service Academy appointments that I and other members of the Congress get to make. But it's really important to me, and I know to these academies and the military services, that we make sure that they have the very best and the brightest that Texas has to offer, which is what each of you represent. I also want to thank my staff who has made it possible for us to put this event on today. Joel, Morgan, Jill, Dylan, Sharon, Kaylee, Allie, Mason, and Kathy on my team, who put in a lot of hours to make it possible for us to be here today and to make sure this goes off without a hitch. Will you join me in saying thank you to each of them? So as I look out among the audience today, I can't help but notice the huge contrast between what you see in the media in terms of what the current and future generations will be like and what they aspire to do. Unfortunately, in the media, too often, it's kind of a dismal and maybe a little bit of a discouraging picture. But over the last few years, I've seen stories that describe a generation of students who are struggling in the classroom, struggling in the workplace, and struggling to find their place in the world. But as I look to each of you who will be going to our nation's elite service academies, and I consider the commitment that you've made and the qualifications and the hard work you've put into this, I'm inspired with hope, optimism, and pride. You are some of the best and brightest high school students anywhere in America. With stellar grades and credentials, you could have chosen to go to any school you wanted to go to, and one that didn't have an early wake-up call or rigorous physical training. But you made the decision to take your talent to America's military academies, to pursue an honorable career that will be full of incredible opportunities, but also real challenges and sacrifices that will mold the character and the person who you will become. This is a decision which I believe you made in large part out of a sense of patriotism and love of our great country. You know that America is a country worthy of sacrifice. You heard the call of duty and you answered with a resounding yes. So to the students here today, your noble choice will inspire generations that come after you, and we all owe you a good debt of gratitude. But you didn't get here alone. It's important to note that the families here have made a commitment as well. And I know each of you know that, and I hope you tell your mom and your dad on a regular basis, thank you for your love and support. No doubt these students, the values that they represent and that they hold in their hearts are no doubt attributable to the values instilled in them by your families. So let's give your families a round of applause. Well, as you heard, I'm an Air Force brat. I know I look a little old to be considered a Air Force brat, but that's what we called ourselves growing up. But as you heard, my dad served for 31 years in the United States Air Force, but he didn't start out in the Air Force. He started out in the Army Air Corps before the Air Force even existed. And he flew in the 303rd Bomb Group in the 8th Air Force out of, in a group known as the Hells Angels out of Mannheim, Germany, Molesworth Air Force Base. Actually flew out of Molesworth. He ended up in Mannheim, unfortunately, as a result of being shot down on his 26th bombing mission. The 303rd was a force to be reckoned with in the European skies, as many of you know. They flew a record of 364 combat missions during the war, and they did so without all of the incredible technology that is available to pilots and the Air Force today, like advanced radar, GPS, and many times they flew even without radios. But like so many others who sacrificed for our nation, their success came at a great cost. More than 150 of their brothers in arms were missing in action, and nearly 800 were taken as prisoners of war, including my dad. Well, later in life, I noticed my dad had a framed certificate on the wall designating him as a member of the Caterpillar Club. And I wondered what the Caterpillar Club could possibly mean. And it said that it was awarded to those who had made an emergency parachute jump during the war, which just goes to prove that most members of the Air Force do not believe in jumping out of perfectly good airplanes like the other branches of military service. Well, the crew was captured near the French border and sent to Stalag 13D, a POW camp in Nuremberg, in what can only be described as abysmal conditions. Food was scarce, and I remember growing up, my dad said the first taste of white bread he had after he got out of prison camp tasted like angel food cake to him. Sanitation, as you might imagine, was non-existent, and he was there in the dead of the Bavarian winter in an unheated barracks. But perhaps the most shocking realization of the conditions under which my dad served and so many of those POWs served in World War II came later in life when he called an ambulance, and because he was having some health problems, ultimately it ended up being diagnosed as an intestinal obstruction, but as a result of scar tissue left from an appendectomy that had been performed while he was a POW by a fellow POW who happened to be an Austrian physician. Another reminder that most of these folks who made it out alive lived at least 8 of their 9 lives. But he was liberated by Patton's Great Army. Months after, later he came home to Texas and soon met and married my mom. Well, I tell you all that so just to let you know that I have a deep respect for the United States military and a profound sense of gratitude for all that it has done, not only for me and my family, but for you and for our state and for our nation, and has made the world a safer and better place and really the envy of the world. But we are gathering here, as you heard, on a sobering occasion, which is Memorial Day, a day when we solemnly remember those Americans who gave their lives in defense of our freedom. We honor the fallen heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice to defend America against regimes whose ideals run counter to ours: Nazism in Europe, communism in the Soviet Union and Asia, and Islamic terrorism in the Middle East. But by remembering these heroes and honoring them, we honor both the sacrifices they made and the values they embodied. And they really set the standard for the rest of us to live up to what they did during their lives. So it is inspiring to me to stand here before you today with the next generation of America's leaders who've answered the call to serve in their own right and who are committed to also preserving our freedoms. So it is wonderful to be here with all of you. Let me ask all of you, just give one more round of applause to our young graduates, all these Service Academy attendees. And now it's my pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, General Mark Welsh, President of Texas A&M University. I was waiting for a whoop. Well, General Welsh and I met about, I guess, 2012 when he was Chief of Staff of the Air Force. and he has had an incredibly distinguished career. He's been awarded the Defense Distinguished Service Medal, the Air Force Distinguished Service Medal, the Defense Superior Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, and the Distinguished Flying Cross. And in 2012, which was when I met him for the first time, he had received one of our nation's highest military honors, becoming the 20th Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force. In this position, General Welsh served as the senior uniformed Air Force officer responsible for overseeing nearly 700,000 active duty Air National Guard, Air Force Reserve, and civilian forces, both here at home and abroad. He was an advisor to the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Council, and to the President of the United States. In addition to these impressive accomplishments, he served as commander of the U.S. Air Forces in Europe and commander of NATO's Air Command at Ramstein Air Base in Germany, associate director of military affairs at the Central Intelligence Agency, and commandant of the United States Air Force Academy, which I know many of you will call home in just a few weeks. As I said, I've had the pleasure to get to know General Welsh over the years, and I, like you, look forward to hearing his words of advice that he will have for our students going to service academies here in the coming weeks. So General Welsh, we're thrilled to have you here today. Thank you for taking the time to be with us on this special day to help me recognize these extraordinary students. Ladies and gentlemen, General Welsh.
Howdy. And a howdy from my wife, Betty, who couldn't be here today. She was planning to, but she has a sinus infection. And as I was just telling Sandy, we got to get her cured. But she wanted me to mention to all of you, gang, that she's excited for you. She's fired up for our nation that you've chosen this path, and she wishes you the very best of luck. I wish you could meet her. Betty and I served side by side for 40 years in our Air Force, and like Mrs. Cornyn serving side by side with her husband, she dealt with all the same pressures, all the same concerns, all the same fears, and a few more that we probably didn't have to worry about. And so she is everything in my world. My thanks to Senator Cornyn and his staff for making this day possible, and more importantly, for taking the job, really the job, of finding the best future leaders for our military so seriously. He's done that ever since he stepped into office. Sir, thank you for that. Thanks to your entire team for putting this event together. Thank you to the Service Academy board members for making it possible for you all to be here. Thanks for doing such distinguished work. I know it's difficult to make the cut, but thank you for taking on that charge. I'd like to offer my personal thanks to the parents and family and friends who are in the audience tonight. One of the things that we take great pride in the U.S. military is instilling the sense of honor, integrity, and courage. But the reality is they learned all those things around your kitchen table. They watched you and they learned about commitment. They learned about loyalty. They learned about dedication. They learned about selfless service. Thank you for raising great Americans. And the job of the United States government is now to take care of them. And a special welcome to our new appointees. Thank you for being here, but more importantly, thank you for your decision to serve. I promise you will never regret it. I know it's an exciting time for you as you try and fit in these last couple of weeks with family and friends before you head off on the new adventure. I know you've got lots to do, so I would suggest that you take an opportunity during this ceremony just to think for 1 second about what's going to happen in about a month. In about a month, you're going to raise your right hand and you're going to promise the citizens of the greatest nation on earth that you will defend their Constitution, that you'll defend their lives, that you'll defend their interests, and you'll do it whenever and wherever required, and that you are willing to sacrifice literally everything to be successful and meet that promise. It's a pretty sobering oath. But you need to know it's also a key. And that key will unlock for you opportunities that you aren't even going to believe. It's going to give you the opportunity to stand for something truly meaningful in your life. It's going to give you the opportunity to stand beside people who really matter, people who will never let you down. It'll give you the opportunity to stand up for people in the most desperate moments of their lives. And it'll give you the opportunity to live a life of distinction, a life of service, and a life of honor. You're going to love your academy experience. I did. I didn't love every day, and you won't either. But overall, you're going to love it, and you're going to most love what it does for you. The life it will lead you to, whatever that life ends up being. It's just a great, great place to start the journey. Each academy is different in a number of small ways, but in all the big things that really matter, they're pretty much the same. So congratulations, no matter which academy you've been privileged to be appointed to. I've had the privilege of seeing my service academy from a number of different perspectives over the years. I was a cadet at the U.S. Air Force Academy in the class of 1976. I went back in the mid-'80s as an air officer commanding, as a captain and a major. Air officer commanding is similar to a TAC officer at West Point or a company officer at Naval Academy. You work with a cadet squadron all day, you get to know them very well, and you try and serve as a positive role model. I went back to the academy again as a one-star in 1999 to serve as commandant. And during that time frame, I also had the chance to see the academy from a father's perspective, because my son John started as a basic cadet 2 weeks after I became the commandant. Think about that for a minute. Really good deal for me, not so much for John. As both the commandant and as chief of staff of the Air Force, I had the chance to visit the other service academies as well and to speak to the young men and women who attend them. And looking through those different lenses at a service academy actually showed me that people attend the academies for a number of different reasons. Some of them and of you are just looking for a challenge. Some are looking for the satisfaction of a job that excites them. Some of you are looking for camaraderie. Some of you are attracted to the idea of the profession of arms, or the legacy of the long gray line, or the bold, direct challenge and iron bond of a motto like Semper Fidelis. Some are just looking to serve their country in some way. Some of you are looking to do cool things, play with cool toys. And there are a few sitting out here who want to learn the really hard skills and be the answer when the question is, who does our country send to deal with the most violent and evil enemies? But I've also learned that all of them and all of you, whether you know it or not, you choose the academies because you're looking to lead. Our service academies will give you incredible opportunities to grow as leaders, but you have to take advantage of them. You have to step up to the challenge. You have to be willing to learn. Let me share just a few of the things that I learned during my own academy experience, things I'll never forget, things that became the bedrock of the professional platform that I've been operating from for about 50 years now. The first thing I learned at the Air Force Academy is that I was naturally lazy. And I also learned that that wasn't going to work in my new world. I needed to change or leave. I was also very cool in those days. Not that I'm not now, mind you. And I learned that in a military academy, cool isn't. When you go to a service academy, you cross a professional threshold. You're not preparing to be in a military service, you're in it. So you need to decide before you get there what you want your professional reputation to be for the rest of your life. And then live that life from day one. It's not about being the best. It's about working the hardest. It's about trying your best. It's about never quitting. It's about being dependable. to the people around you. I learned at the academy that my dad was right when he told me I probably wasn't going to be the most athletic, the best looking, the most talented, or the smartest person in my class, or in my squadron, or in my dorm room. I learned Dad was also right when he told me that no one could work harder or care more than I did, because those things were my choice. They were completely under my control. And I learned that hard work and caring about others and about the job you're trying to do will carry you a long way in this world. I learned that challenges make you stronger. I learned that competition makes you more focused. I learned that failure makes you more understanding and is often the first step to future success. I learned that success makes you more confident and that more confidence breeds more success. I learned that I was much more capable as part of a team than I was on my own. I learned that everyone subordinate to me in an organization is better than me at something. Most of them are better than me at a whole bunch of things, and some of them are better than me at everything. Just as a small example, when I became the commandant at the Air Force Academy, one of the cadet wing commanders I worked with was a young man named Tom. Tom was the captain of the Wings of Blue parachute team at the Air Force Academy, which was the national championship team. He was also the individual national champion parachute jumper in the country. He was also a Rhodes Scholar. His degree from Oxford in his advanced computational application, whatever that is. How do I lead him? I also learned not to be intimidated by Tom or by having really, really talented people working for me, because it meant I now had more skills, a broader perspective, and better solutions as a leader. I learned that the harder I worked, the more I felt I belonged. And there's so much more that I won't bore you with. Interestingly, all these things and virtually everything else I learned at the Air Force Academy turn out to be leadership lessons. Our state, our nation, and our world need leaders. Great leaders. That's where you come in. Your potential to lead is the single most important factor that the Service Academy Selection Board looked at as they narrowed the field. That potential is why you're sitting here today. That potential is why your parents are so proud of you. That potential is why the rest of us are so excited that you're going to our service academies. You'll find when you get to the academy that there's an urgency about leadership development there that is palpable. That urgency is driven by that oath you'll take. The citizens of this country give us, will give you, their sons and daughters. And they will expect you to lead them well. And if that isn't enough to motivate you to do everything in your power to develop quickly as a leader, maybe this is. The profession you've chosen isn't a game. In fact, it's probably the most serious business imaginable. In this sport, you either win or you're dead. And so are the people you lead. You're not going to regular schools. Get yourself ready. To lead successfully in that kind of environment, I think you need to believe, truly believe, in this nation and in the citizens you serve. I think you need to believe in the training you'll receive and trust it when things get hard. I think you need to believe in the mission you've been given and execute it faithfully. I think you need to believe in the warriors beside you. And I know you need to believe in yourself. The Academy will help you with all those things. You just have to work at it. Most importantly, though, I think you need to believe in that giant flag behind me and what it represents. During the course of your careers, you're going to wear that flag on your uniform. You're going to wear it on your helmet. You'll fly it on your ship. It'll be painted on your airplane. And you will raise and lower it over remote camps in some pretty godforsaken places around this planet. And many of you will have the same privilege I've had on too many occasions to watch it being taken off the casket of a friend, folded into a triangle, and handed to you so you can give it to the family on behalf of a grateful nation. To the brothers and sisters who wear the nation's cloth, that flag means everything. Honor it. Which brings me to Memorial Day. The first national observance was in 1868. It was called Decoration Day back then because the custom was to decorate the graves of the fallen Civil War dead with flowers. After World War I, the observance expanded to include the dead from all wars and eventually to include anyone who died in service to the country. Somewhere along the way, the name changed from Decoration Day to Memorial Day, and in 1971, Memorial Day became a federal holiday. To Service Academy graduates, Memorial Day is especially meaningful because all of us know someone who died in service to our country. As I said, it's a serious business. My roommate at the Air Force Academy was a young man named John. John was from the town of Oyster Bay on Long Island, New York. John had 5 sisters, although he didn't tell us that for some reason. In fact, we didn't learn about the sisters until after we graduated from the academy, graduated from pilot training, and all showed up at his wedding in New York. 6 months later, I married one of those sisters. John was best man at our wedding. He was the godfather of our first child. He's the namesake of our second son. In November 1979, John died in an aircraft accident in Korea. After they shipped him home to the West Coast, I met him at the Oakland Army Depot. I covered his casket with that flag, and I took him home. He was the first friend I took home to their family, wrapped in that flag. There were too many others. But to me, on this special day, John represents all of them. So on this particular Memorial Day, if you have a quiet moment and want to say a quick prayer for a fallen veteran, and a name doesn't immediately spring to mind, try this one. First Lieutenant John J. Vosberg, U.S. Air Force Academy class of 1976. Beloved husband and son, fighter pilot, my friend, and my brother. Just like all of you are now my brothers and sisters. In this business, that means quite simply that I would die for you. And I believe you do the same for me. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Good luck to you. Give it your best shot. Don't cheat yourself. God bless you for choosing to serve. God bless you for choosing to serve. God bless you for choosing to serve. And welcome to the profession of arms. And for you Aggies out there, gig 'em.
Man, if you're not feeling inspired, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I'm ready to sign up again. Thank you, Senator Cornyn. Thank you, General Welsh, for your inspiring remarks. Yeah, let's do this. We are now going to recognize each student by academy and then take a group photo of each class. So, okay, parents, I'm talking to you. I know you're proud. I know you're happy. Cooperate with me for just a little bit. I ask that you please remain seated for the entire program. We're going to get a photo of each student with Senator Cornyn and with General Welsh, and that is going to be mailed to your student at the address that you provided to Senator Cornyn's office. And I didn't talk to Senator Cornyn about this, but I'm going to make this offer anyway. After the program, everybody is invited to come take a photo with the senator. So we can get family photos, brothers, sisters. That can all take place afterwards. So please take advantage of that. Senator, you're now on the hook for taking a bunch of photos. Finally, I ask that you please hold your applause while the students' names are being read until we've completed each academy. So I'm going to invite Senator Cornyn and General Welsh back up on the stage with me. Get y'all staged. Okay. Now I would like to introduce the Texans in the class of 2029 that will be attending the United States Military Academy at West Point. Roberto Rodriguez from San Antonio. Gael Gama from Edinburgh. Todd Everett Worth from Helotes. Hayden Joseph Bruce from Cibolo. Amelia Miller from Liberty Hill. Hannah Dufresne from Comfort. Matthew Wooten from McKinney. Ramon Escamilla Pereira from Austin. Clark Zanella from Round Rock. Noah Sparks from Alvarado. Johnny Redding from Uvalde. Annabelle Evans from San Antonio. Ariana Thottam from Houston. Tristana Tiro from Garland. Madison Mendez from San Antonio. Madeline Coates from Buda. Tyler Letcher from Austin. Felix Eugene from Austin. Logan Evans from Weatherford. Samuel Murillo from Colleyville. Joaquin Contreras from San Antonio. Quinn Frazier from Pearland. Jake Doss from Spring. Robert Jacob Villarreal from Harlingen. Cece Okeke from Houston. Mason Brooks from Henrietta. Jackson Fonville from Cyprus. Sarai Jacobson from Cedar Park. Owen Baggish from Austin. Joshua Phillip. Joshua, where are you from? Joshua Phillip from San Antonio. And Olivia Hansen from Austin. I present to you the United States Military Academy Class of 2029. One more round of applause for these West Pointers. Give them a second to clear off the stage. The Army's really big, so they're loud when they move. All right, next up, I'm going to introduce the Texans in the class of 2029 for the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland. Eduardo Rizzo from Helotes. Kekoa Alblaza from San Antonio. Edward Yang from Irving. Ava Ponce from McAllen. Kristen Wharton from Dallas. Bella Bergen from Round Rock. Serena Coleman from Laredo. Miley Jimmy from Cedar Park. Adrena Bowie from Georgetown. Julian Garcia from Corpus Christi. Grace Naglieri from Austin. Matthew McCoy from Allen. Gavin Lozano from San Antonio. Roldan Akonlu from Fulshire. Jalen Sayers from Arlington. Paul Gerke from Katy. Cha Ong from Spring. Paul Nuval from Houston. Kelsey Pollard from San Antonio. Kai Funaro from Cedar Park. William McClendon from Baytown. William Spa from Lamarck. Matthew Bickle from Amarillo. Hector Hernandez from Austin. Townley Thompson from Montgomery. Johnny Morrow from San Antonio. Isaac Romero from Frisco. Peter Villalobos from San Antonio. Massimo Vung from Humble. Jonah Kruger from College Station. Sophie Ochoa from San Antonio. Elizabeth Thornton from Katy. Noah Hernandez from Bernie. Derek Binkowski from Houston. Oscar Bednar from Austin. And Kaylin Canales from Mesquite. I present to you the United States Naval Academy class of 2029. right, one more round of applause for our midshipmen. Next up, I'll introduce the Texans in the class of 2029 at the United States Air Force Academy. Isaac Seward from San Antonio. Adriana Noyola from Edinburgh. Caden Spradling from New Braunfels. Storm Pena from New Braunfels. Juan Sanchez from Far. Hazel Acosta from El Paso. Lexi Caldera from Houston. Adrian Garcia from Humble. Jorge Vasquez from McAllen. Makai Campbell from Houston. Zariah McFadden from San Antonio. Timothy So from McKinney. Zachary Smith from Plano. Rahul Kailasam from Little Elm. Sydney Jernigan from Tomball. Hannah Seal from Austin. Samuel Oakland from Universal City. Caden Vincent from New Braunfels. Caleb Dinsmore from San Antonio. Matthew Parker from Houston. Colin Wynn from Houston. Joseph Della Rosa from Grand Prairie. Samuel Jones from San Antonio. Zitong Wang from Missouri City. Amelia Story from New Braunfels. Colton Stull from Arlington. Sonoma Caldwell from Cedar Park. William Kugler from Austin. Victor Bendixson from Pflugerville. Lee Paulmeyer from Waco. Isaac Koo from Fort Worth. Alexa Bowers from Bulverde. Brandon Stoddy from Flower Mound. Ankith Padala from San Antonio. Rylan Farhoudi from Kerrville. Maddox Brown from Austin. Lana Ruiz from San Antonio. Sophia Ramos from Rowlett. And Isaac Kim from Houston. I present to you the United States Air Force Academy class of 2029. One more round of applause for the Air Force Academy. Next, I'll be introducing the Texans in the class of 2029 at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. Aaron Braxton, San Antonio. Austin Satzer from San Antonio. Mary Walsh from Double Oak.